Major funding for these broadcasts is made possible by grants from Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, Ariel Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank. Additional funding is made possible by grants from AM Trust Title, AVR Realty Company, Avison Young, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Commercial Mortgage, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Cohen Equities, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
Paterson, New Jersey? Upper Montclair? Europe to pick up a saddle? Cookies for James Taylor? Writing Academy? Smith? Goldman Sachs? No. Citibank? Nah, I'm going to be a mortgage company. I'm going to create a mortgage business. I'm going to create a dynasty. I'm going to create Manhattan Mortgage. I have the lady responsible for changing the mortgage business. Melissa Cohn, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We have two really interesting families. Let's start with Mom's side.
My mother's grandfather, my great-grandfather, was a man named Leonor Michaelis, who was a biochemist who was born and raised in Germany. And in 1923, he was actually asked to go to Japan and help found a medical part of a medical school there near Nagasaki. And my family spent 3 years in Japan. My grandmother learned Japanese and came back with all of the shoes and toys and clothing that we all learned to wear as a child. And then when they came back to the United States, my great-grandfather went to the Albert Einstein Medical Center, where he became very friendly with Albert Einstein. And I even...
So the picture that we have of Albert Einstein is with who?
With my grandmother.
With your grandmother. Now, you said to me that your grandparents in Germany really, they were in the retail business? They
had a small department store. My great-grandfather was obviously a very successful medical doctor. And in fact, the reason he went to Japan was that even though he was given honors and positions in Germany, they wouldn't pay him any money because he was Jewish.
So when does he come here to America, your great-grandfather?
They came in about 1927, I believe.
They moved to the Upper West Side, right, near Central Park?
The Upper East Side. But my grandmother, when I was born, was living on West 78th Street.
Right, West 7, 239 or something like that.
325.
Okay, so now let's go to Dad's side, your father's side. Tell me about them.
My father's family, my grandmother came from Bialystok. She came to this country in the very early 1900s, and there was a fire in Paterson that destroyed all of the records of a number of people, and happened in, like, I believe, the 30s. So no one really knows exactly when my grandmother was actually born. My grandfather's family emigrated here actually just before he was born, and he was born and raised in Paterson, which was a fascinating time to grow up at the beginning of the 20th century.
In the silk community of the world.
The silk community. He was an attorney. He represented a lot of interesting
Now,
characters.
We'll get back to him in a second. But his father and his uncle were attorneys, I read also.
They were.
So, he was the second generation in his uncles. But you were telling me that your grandfather represented some interesting characters?
He had interesting characters and was very involved in, let's call it, the politics of Paterson, and enjoyed a great life there. He actually played football when he was younger and started his law firm, and my father joined him when he got out of law school. And in fact, my grandfather lived until 1979, at which time then my father took the helm of the law firm.
Right. I think the law firm was founded like in 1923. And they were the pillars, okay? And they stayed in Paterson from 23 until they moved to...
They moved to Saddlebrook.
Your father, he was a big sailor. Tell me about the sailing, because it relates to how he meets your mother.
My father, who was brought up as a very waspy Jew, learned to sail. He went to Cheshire Academy when he was young, and then off to Georgetown and Harvard, and he loved to sail. So he had a sailboat called the Dark Wind. I think it was 32 feet long, and
which he took from New York City
down to Woods Hole in Massachusetts, where my mother was visiting her grandparents. My great-grandfather was working at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute for summer fun, and my parents met on the dock.
The story that I read is they met on the boat, right?
Well, they actually met on the dock. My dad was on the boat. My mother was on the dock.
Okay, but then she goes on the boat with him, right? And then she meets her family, and then she goes back to New York City on the boat?
I'm not sure if she came all the way back. I know that my father invited her to be crew for a trip to Nantucket, and I believe they made it all the way back to New York, but that's a little bit fuzzy in my memory.
Okay, so now that we've told the mom and dad side, tell me about you. You're the oldest of five, right?
I'm the oldest of five.
Okay, and you're born in Paterson at this time.
I was born in Paterson.
So tell me about growing up and how you got involved with the cookie business and then the writing academy.
Well, I was born in Paterson, and when I was, I believe, a little less than 2, my parents went to move, and they had me in a basket on the side of the street, and they got in the car, and they were so excited about moving, they forgot me. So I guess I was sort of left on my own from a very early age and meant to do that for the rest of my life. When I was young, my mother's parents were German, and there's a picture of my great-grandparents in Berlin Park, in fact, that I have. And I was very enamored with English history, with horses, and my grandfather decided that it would be appropriate for me to, be involved in riding. In fact, they took me to London to buy me my first saddle and my first riding jacket, which is almost as important. And I just fell in love with the horses. When I was young, my parents built a house on Martha's Vineyard, and I summered on Martha's Vineyard from the time I was very young until after I graduated from college. And I, of course, decided that I wanted to make money. So when I was about 9 years old, James Taylor's brother, Hugh, had a general store in Chilmark. And through the community center where I spent time growing up, I met a woman named Judy Mayhew who was baking pies at that time for the general store. And so I said, well, can I help? Can I be a part of it? And so I learned to bake brownies. And I was very smart. I got my mother to give me the pin money to pay for all of the ingredients. I think she paid for them for a while before she caught on that I was just pocketing all the money. But for a number of summers, I actually baked brownies and sold them to Hugh Taylor.
So that's the cookie business. But what about the riding academy?
Well, my parents were very generous and gave me a pony at an early age. And I decided that once again, I needed to make money, make this work. So I would actually take my pony and I would teach other people lessons on my pony. So I started my own little riding academy.
Who were your students?
Just local kids in the Chilmark area. I mean, those were the days where we used to be able to hitchhike and, get around very independently, and I took advantage of it.
So let's forget Martha's Vineyard and let's come back. The family moved from Paterson to Upper Montclair.
Correct.
And you went to private school.
I did.
I hear the entrepreneur in you, but you always said that you wanted to be a physician, I think. So what was the conflict?
The conflict was organic chemistry.
That's later on.
All right.
But the conflict, but when you were a kid, it seems that you were an entrepreneur and following your father and your grandfather, they were all entrepreneurs, okay? And you said to me sometimes in the house where the doors were closed because your father was a litigator.
That's correct.
He was a litigator, and there was an article about him in his obituary talking that he was like the king litigator, and they had to shut his mouth at times, the judge saying, "It's enough, Mr. Cohn, enough."
He was always really well prepared.
So tell me about your summers. Were they always in Showmark, or did you go anywhere else?
For one summer, I was actually sent to Maine to go to sleepaway camp. Having all the benefits and beauty of the vineyard, I of course decided that there was the grass is greener somewhere else. So I went with several of my friends from Showmark. We went to sleepaway camp for 1 month. We came back, and my parents said, "Okay, you're done."
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to a school called the Montclair Kimberly Academy. I started at the Kimberly School, which was an all-girls school, who merged with the Montclair Academy, which was an all-boys school. And my 9th grade beginning high school class was the first year of the merger.
So you graduated high school. What year is this?
1978.
So it's 1978, and how did you decide to go to Smith?
I visited a number of colleges with my mother, who took me mostly, and everywhere I went, it was sort of all about the boys, all about the men. You go to Brown, and they ran the fraternities. You go to Princeton, and they ran the dining houses,
Social clubs,
the
right.
social clubs. So, when I went to Smith, it was a school for women, run by women, and I just saw it as a great opportunity for me to learn to grow and to, be able to take my entrepreneurial spirit with my desire to be a doctor and see where I could go with it. And I had much greater, the abilities, the opportunities were limitless when I was at Smith, where I felt by going to a co-ed school that I would still be chasing after trying to get on top of, or, breaking that glass ceiling.
But looking at it, your mother was an interesting entrepreneur. She went to Bronx Science High School, and then later on in life, she went to become a lawyer.
She did.
And she passed the bar when your parents moved to their new home in Showmark in like 1981. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. At Smith, you said organic chemistry was the key.
I was in awe of my great-grandfather when I was growing up, so I always wanted to follow in his footsteps. It'd be amazing to have a theory named after you. That didn't work so well. So when I was struggling in organic chemistry, I took economics and history, and I got A's easily. And I decided that I should probably focus on something that came more naturally to me, and that would be the economics and history, a little bit of art history.
Now, during the summers at college, you were up at Showmark, or were you working or doing anything?
I was on the vineyard. I worked at a resort in Edgartown, which is on the other side of Martha's Vineyard, where I was the tennis shop girl. I was a lifeguard.
You should have definitely been running the riding academy.
Right. Unfortunately, there were no horses there. I kept on riding and kept on teaching people. And I would also take tourists from the vineyard to Nantucket for a day trip to see what Nantucket, which was such a different island, was like.
So it's 1982. The young lady is graduating, and you have an opportunity. You had two opportunities, you said. One of them was to go to work for Goldman Sachs, right?
Correct.
And one of them was to work in the retail operations at Citibank. Talk to me about Goldman Sachs and Citibank.
I'm a very hands-on person, which is, I think, what I love so much about what I do, because I get very involved in people's lives. And the thought of going to Goldman Sachs at that time was more about sitting in front of a copier than it was in sort of dealing
Now,
with
which
people.
department? Did you have an offer from Goldman?
I never really got that far because my grandmother was a big client there and was obviously a big help. But my interests were not really there. I was much more interested in being involved with people.
Yeah, but this was a Smith graduate to work in the retail branch on 86th Street where they had robberies? I mean, that's...
Hey, it got me to where I am today. It must
I know,
have worked.
but so tell me about how did you get the job? Because, there was a corporate training program and then there was the retail branch operations, which was huge in the 80s. Citibank had a great operation. How do you end up in the retail operation of Citibank?
I really decided that I really wanted to deal with people once again. And when you go into a commercial or corporate banking program, you don't really get to deal with people when you're right out of college. You sort of sit behind, listen, watch, copy, throw things away for people, get lunch. The opportunity at Citibank in the retail allowed me just to day one get involved in branch operations, learn how day-to-day real banking happened.
Were you a teller?
I was never a teller, but
Oh, come on. I was a teller. I mean, it was an
I was right next to you. I sat on the platform and I helped people giving them forms to fill out, open up checking accounts. I learned a lot. Although, in fact, the woman that I went to work for at Citibank is now an attorney who's a closing attorney in real estate. And she used to come in every day in these hot pink dresses with lots of layers and lots of big jewelry. And me, being a Smithee, coming from Montclair, was there in my little Brooks Brothers suit, my floppy bow tie. And I learned that that was not the real world.
Yeah, but here's the question. How did the Smithee end up on 108th Street in her first apartment in a walk-up with a gay guy as a roommate?
My parents were not happy. It was of my own device, and I will tell you that my parents encouraged me very much to move down to a more appropriate neighborhood, and I ended up on 84th between York and East End. But I also made a business of it because I had a fourth floor walk-up, which was it was like a railroad flat with a jumble of rooms, and I ended up subletting my rooms. I never told my parents that, but
So
I made money in that.
You were Airbnb, or
I was Airbnb.
or co-living. We lived
work,
today.
so the we
It was
live.
We live, so it was we live. Now you were saying to me that you worked on 86th Street and Lexington Avenue,
Correct.
where Citibank was, and at that time I don't think the Gimbel store had opened yet. It was close to opening, but it was because of the train stop over there, it was a great getaway spot for robberies.
That's
what
correct,
happened?
because there was a subway entrance at all four corners. So not long into my tenure there, we had a robbery, and I promptly flew under my desk, sat there, like ready to call my mother and say, maybe I'm not so sure I want to do this. But
How many robberies did you?
I went through 3.
Boy, and what do your parents say?
I think I only told them about 1.
Oh, okay.
So Mom, sorry.
Don't worry, Mom now will know when she watches
Everything.
the show. Okay, so you're at Citibank, and what happens? How do you progress from the person handling out, opening up accounts, to getting involved with residential mortgages?
I was very lucky. The man that ran the branch that I was hired into, and he knew I wanted more than just to help people open checking accounts, told me that mortgage lending would be the wave of profitability in the future in the banking world.
Residential mortgages.
Residential.
It was a different world at that time.
When I graduated from college, most mortgages were 1-year adjustables. I remember that the rate the first year I graduated was at 16%. And in those days, people still bought, people still took mortgages. I mean, checks and balances and the different, where our economies were, but people needed to get financing. Real estate in New York just started getting more and more expensive.
So what happens at Citibank?
They brought in a regional director, a guy named Matt Kistner, who also told me that mortgage lending was where to be focused on. And they started a mortgage center system at Citibank, where I was basically given the job to help establish residential mortgage operations for the 10 branches north of 57th Street. So working with developers, those were the days where we could actually get developers to write a check to a bank to make sure that there was mortgage money available for their buyers.
Right, I think you said to me I think it was when you started your new business, you did a mortgage like at 90th Street.
No, when I was still at Citibank, and I sold my
Citibank.
first bulk commitment, and it was 200 East 90th Street, and there I was, of course, in my floppy bow tie and my
Now,
little suit.
did you stay at the building to?
But I sat on
like
I sat on site at the
mortgage
building and
applications?
met with people as they came in to purchase. And
You're at Citibank. You're involved with the 10 branches for the mortgage operation. How did this company called Gilbert something get involved?
Gilbert Charles Balin in the 80s was one of the biggest marketing and sales agents for new condominiums in New York City. And they had a program internally where they would make everyone who purchased a condominium through them to make application for the mortgage to make sure that that buyer was a real buyer, not just trying to hold, the apartment off the market for a period of time.
Did the person have to pay an application fee?
When I got there, there was really no real program. They were just referring it out to banks. So when I got to Gilbert Charles Balin, I helped them start a company called Mortgage Placements, where we took what was a cost center to them and turned it into a profit center, meaning that I went out and got banks. Boston Safe Deposit was one of my very first banks that I brought in under my, today's mortgage broker model.
At Gilbert Charles Balin.
When I was at Gilbert Charles Balin. So we got banks to agree to lend money, let me act as their agent to get mortgage approvals for the buyers of our various condominiums.
And the banks also paid you a commission.
Initially, they did not, but we would evolve very quickly into them paying us a commission because in order for me to be competitive, I can't be more expensive than if you went into that branch next door to you. So we got the banks to recognize the fact that we were doing a big service and there was a value to the business that we did. We did all of their pre-underwriting for them, gathering documentation, help setting up appraisals, setting up closings, and got them to agree that they would pay us a fee in exchange for sending the loan to them.
So if I look at the chronography, 82 you graduate, you start at Citibank. You spend about 3 years at Citibank, with 2?
2 years.
2 years, then you go to Gilbert Charles Balin.
Correct.
And then what happens at Gilbert Charles Balin that you create at your kitchen table this entity called Manhattan Mortgage?
I was pretty successful at what I did, and in addition to being able to do mortgages for buyers in the condominiums we were selling, I also went out to real estate firms. Joan Schlank, if you remember, back then was the first broker that I ever went to, and they started sending me business as well, not just through the Gilbert Charles Balin sales connection. And I started making commissions, and they decided about 18 months into my tenure there that I was making too much money, and they took away my very small base salary. And I said, well, I don't really need them to do this for me. I'm going to go out and start my own company.
So this is what, 1985?
Correct.
So in 1985, the entrepreneur, the cookie lady, we'll call you, okay? Mm-hmm. The cookie lady decides to start. Now, what's the story about the kitchen table?
It was actually my dining room table. When I left Gilbert Charles Balin and started my new company, the licensing laws were much looser than they are today. So I had started this company called Manhattan Mortgage with a woman that I had worked for with at Gilbert Charles Balin.
Two things. Were you married at this time?
I was.
Okay, so what did your husband say about you? Because he was he went to
he went to Amherst.
He went to Amherst, and he was a lawyer?
No, he was not. He worked on Wall Street.
I worked on Wall Street. What did he say about the entrepreneur being?
I think that he realized that was part of my package, and
the good, bad, and indifferent.
Exactly, you get it all. So I just did it.
You grew from one little operation to an entity. Until we sold it in 2012. Over that period of time, how'd you grow the business so large?
When I started the company, I really believe firmly in relationships, and then our business, as you know it, is very much of a relationship business. So I worked very hard to go out to real estate brokerage offices and get them to encourage to send their clients to me with the theory that I didn't represent just one bank. As Manhattan Mortgage, I had the ability to represent numerous banks, and at one point I think I represented almost 100 banks. So that instead of having to shop around, I used the analogy which worked better then.
You were the Amazon lady.
Or I was a travel agent for mortgages.
Right, travel agent for mortgages, but also the full house.
Exactly. I'm the one-stop shop. And as I did more business, I got more banks involved, and I really grew organically. My first employee was a woman that had worked on the real estate side of Gilbert Charles Balin, named Beth Divney, and she's still out there doing mortgages today. And we just grew one at a time.
What happens in 2012?
2012,
Dodd-Frank.
Dodd-Frank started rearing its ugly head, and there was banks were having an issue as to which channels they could lend through because there was a know your client issue at that point. And mortgage brokerage, unfortunately, sort of took the fall in the sense that many of the banks started.
But you're still involved with it today. I mean, you're with FM Mortgage right
That's
now.
correct.
And you're running a similar business to Manhattan Mortgage.
I had my team there. It's very similar to Manhattan Mortgage, where we still deal with a large number of banks as brokers, where the bank actually closes the money. But the benefit I have where I am today is that we're also a bank, so that we can apply, approve, and close loans in our own name, which oftentimes can help get a deal done much faster than it can by going directly to a bank.
Let's talk about family. You have 2 daughters.
I do. My older daughter, Sarah, also a great equestrian, and she works at Stribling, where she's worked for a number of years.
On the relocation side.
She works in the relocation and the referral network. My younger daughter, Samantha, who is in the process of becoming a yoga instructor.
And then you and Bill have been together for how long?
Almost 10 and a half years.
And you still ride, or you stopped riding?
I stopped riding the year my dad died.
But you're still involved with horses?
I still love horses. I'm still involved. I still sponsor at the Hampton Classic each year.
And you're also involved with women's rights, okay? How'd you get involved with that, going back years ago?
I just, from childhood, you know, it's very important that women, we were always sort of second-class citizens, even as I was a young adult, and really bringing to the forefront that women are important, they matter, that we're equal. I was involved in a number of charities over the years, dealing with special development children, housing for humanity, Habitat, and different organizations. And recently, with a woman who I've known for a number of years, who's very involved in PR, we've gotten involved and I've created certain initiatives. The first being Ladies Who Launch, meaning that I got together a group of women, and we've now had 2 luncheons annually where we talk about things that we need to do to help promote women in business.
So the best thing was the cookie business, the writing business, the fact that you did terrible in organic chemistry because you did a great job in creating a great business and being a unique individual in this community. And thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.